Hey, what is up everybody? This is Blackblade, and what would you consider to be the worst game you've ever played? No, I'm not talking about the most disappointing game. That's a topic for another day. Rather, I'm talking about a game so technically bad it left you absolutely speechless. For years, I considered that honor to go to The Incredibles, though it's been so long since I played it that I'm not sure whether it was really that bad. One game I can say is that bad, however, is this one. Soldier of Fortune Payback. As the third entry in the Soldier of Fortune series, this game was published by Activision exactly 1 week after another FPS they published that you probably never heard of, as it might have flown under your radar. It's perfect these two games would release back to back so as to show the drastic difference in quality between them. While one would be among the most celebrated military shooters to date, the other is a disappointing stain on a series with a cult following. Though I never played the first two, I just came around to playing this game because a friend gave it to me to cleanse his library. I was more than happy to take it off his hands after my morbid curiosity from reading the back of the box. Let's just take a minute to look at this, shall we? Payback is when an escort mission goes horribly wrong, you find yourself battling an insidious enemy that knows no boundaries. You know the drill. Get the job done your way. This is gonna be good. So after a couple splash logos, we get to the menu, which already shows off how little effort went into this game. There's absolutely no life to this. It looks like it was cobbled together with stock assets. After selecting the difficulty, we open with a cutscene and...
I've got a job for you, Thomas.
I'm listening.
Great voice acting. According to the briefing, our first assignment has us working with one Colonel Miller to evacuate a Chinese envoy who discovered his government has been constructing an oil pipeline using slave labor. After selecting our own loadout, which I'll admit is a little cool for this game, we spawn in the start... Oh, that's how we're gonna play. Good to know. We reach the second floor of a nearby building and engage in an all-out firefight with enemies pouring from the nearby rooftops and road below. This shootout is mostly standard FPS stuff, other than when the character starts shooting outward while his gun is pointed down, turning this into a standard shootout by this game's merit. We rush down the road with a shotgun, blow some big old chunks out of enemies, head down a back alley, and this is where we get to see firsthand what makes this game so comical. See, the defining characteristic of the original Soldier of Fortune games were the dismemberment physics. In regards to responsiveness and shooters, this series was ahead of its time. This game tries to recapture that, but at an age where this level of model transformation is more commonplace, the attempts to go above and beyond make the excessiveness seem almost cartoonish, like a rated R Tom and Jerry. Whether it's the raspberry jam coating the ground, the over-the-top death animations, or the fact that shotguns are apparently equivalent in power to mortar shells as seen before, it's just too ridiculous to take seriously. So this level has us going around disabling radar jammers to find Quan Li's location. In making our way to the first, we get into another shootout where blowing up a car completely annihilates the frame rate. Getting past it though, we reach the next radar jammer, destroy it, then get overwhelmed by enemies and die. Pro tip. The turret is a trap. It's inaccurate as crap and offers you no protection whatsoever. After the last jammer, we track the location of and neutralize an enemy sniper. Then we make our way to Lee where we see this sick cutscene. Pixar, eat your heart out. This is quality animation. So Miller finds where Lee's been hiding, but in a sudden twist, he guns him down. Then blows up the car in a shot that's gotta be bad for his shoulder. Revealing to Mason he was paid to switch sides, he prepares his weapon to fire.
I just wish I could feel bad for killing you.
Here we have a brief showdown with Miller, and by showdown, I mean filling him with shotgun holes until he finally processes he doesn't actually have invincibility active. Confused, Mason contacts Decker, wondering what's the deal with spontaneous terrorism?
We had a suspicion he'd turned. Unfortunately, we had to put your ass on the line to draw him out.
So let me get this straight. You had a strong assumption Miller was a traitor, and you sent him to recover an important target anyway? What kind of a stick-figure brain does someone need to have to greenlight that idea? Well, going by previous intel of Miller's whereabouts and Quan Li's research, Mason is dispatched to Mogong.
Mason, there's a village nearby, not far from this pipeline. It's where they're housing the slave laborers.
Let me guess. You want me to head there?
Ow. Beautiful audio balancing. We make our way through the level, shooting guards and sprinting across bridges. At one moment, blowing up a barrel sent an enemy flying through the canyon. But beyond that, this section didn't have too many irregularities. We reach a set of ruins acting as a makeshift checkpoint. Passing through that, we reach the village where it's suddenly nighttime. Don't think I didn't notice, game. Poor Turret Man. He never learned how to rotate past 90 degrees. Or show emotion. Making our way through the village and taking out the enemy guards, we reach an upper level where the villagers are being kept in cells. After clearing out the guards, we open one of the cells and hear this exchange.
No hurt me.
Take it easy. I'm not going to hurt you. Do you speak any English?
Mason. He just spoke to you. Why would you need to
English. Speak very small English.
So through their telepathic translation technology, the villager gives Mason a card to an elevator leading to the pipeline. Taking it, we pass through a cave and into a courtyard. After shooting some guards, we reach the pipeline guarded by more soldiers and 2 captains, Min and Nam, standing in the way.
I don't think so. We've got orders to finish this.
Did anyone even consider trying for a better take? You paid the voice actor $15 and a gift card to Olive Garden. At least get your money's worth. So Min dies. Nam dies.
Oh, come on!
And the pipeline goes kablooey. Cut to the next briefing where we learn the location of a terrorist leader named Imad al-Din and are sent in to find a connection between him and Miller. This opening set piece, crawling your way up the hill through enemy opposition, is honestly not that bad design-wise. If it was in a better game, I think I'd actually like this segment, but it isn't. Oh, well, at least you bested pulling space program. So after a few tries, we make our way up the hill where we see Aldine and an unidentified target flee into the caves. Progressing further up the hill, we reach the cave system and navigate the winding passageways. After some time, we reach the end and find the target, a self-proclaimed emissary.
I'm just a middleman. I keep people happy. I cultivate friendships, smooth things over between my people and various Middle Eastern organizations.
Your people are terrorists, and so are the groups they associate with.
What?
Perhaps, but we are well funded.
What? Awkward racial profiling of Middle Eastern culture aside, we learn from Bashar that Aldine is meeting with an even more dangerous terrorist leader called the Moor. Afterwards, this happens.
You're going to let me live? Weak American. Were our situation reversed, I would not hesitate to put a bullet in your head.
Good point.
What did you think was gonna happen? Anyway, we oversee a handoff between the two, then after being spotted get locked in a massive gunfight. Come on man, don't kill yourself. You've got so much to live for, and he's dead. And also a chicken. After that we have a brief fight with Aldine in an APC, then chase after the Moor.
Look at all this product. I think I'm getting high just standing here.
Huh, so he knows how I feel right now. Neat. After a brief convo with the Moor, we then have another boss fight with him inside a helicopter, and yeah, this fight sucks. This time, the game sucks in an unfun way. The chopper fight isn't difficult by any means, but it's extremely long, requiring several ammo dumps and no visible signs of damage on the model. This fight is less than 4 minutes in total, but there's so little wait, it feels like an eternity. Thankfully, it does eventually end, and we get our next briefing. Apparently, an explosives inventor named Gavin Wall was taken captive for ransom. We don't get any more information on what our objective is though, but we still select our loadout and
now I'll show you why they call me Revolver.
We make our way through the jungle until we reach a small village. Clearing it out, we find another building full of cells with enslaved villagers. One agrees to take us to a hidden passage leading to the prison, then no-clips through the cage and we escort him, taking out any guards we see along the way. This takes us to a mine, once again with the time of day spontaneously changing. We make our way through the rings of the mine, finding a spotlight that seems quite interested in our movement despite having no visible motion tracking attachments. At the bottom we find a shack with 2 slaves inside. One remains while another leads you to the mining camp. After crossing through a cave system, we reach the camp where a guy named Mace starts provoking us. Soon a boss fight breaks out, with Mace constantly driving from one spot to the next while you chase him in the back of a truck. It's a decent sequence with a cool ending where Mace crashes into an explosive barrel and the truck veers off into the pit. But throughout this whole sequence I have to ask, who's driving your truck? Actually, they show the villager go over to the truck. But be honest, you expected this game to sidestep that issue altogether, didn't you? After that, we make our way to the prison where we see the villagers revolting against their masters. This section has us freeing the still captive ones while leading the charge through the base to reach where Gavin is being held. Hang on, is this an unironically fun moment? No, that can't be. That doesn't make any sense. How could I... Okay, yeah, I got it wrong. Upon killing the last of the guards, we enter the prison only to find we were apparently too late. Gavin ends up getting rescued by his brother, Ethan Wall, who I guess is supposed to be behind all of this, but then had to rescue his brother from the guys we've been fighting, so I don't know. What I do know is that these are some of the most painful Irish accents I've ever heard.
Who? Just some nobody. A nobody who's done a pretty effective job at being a pain in the...
Hold on. Isn't that a contradiction? I'm a nobody, but I've done something, so that means I'm not really a nobody. This line sucks. So the Walls escape, and we fight their bodyguard, Kahira. It's like all the other human bosses in this game. An easy, but still obnoxious damage sponge. At least it's still over relatively quick. The next briefing we find out that these two getting together was really bad, and are sent to a red light district brothel supposedly hiding the brothers' headquarters.
You relax now. I dance sexy for you.
Frankly, dear, if this is you being sexy, I suggest you find another job. So at the loadout this time, I was able to equip an RGL. Considering how strong the shotgun is, I'm curious how strong a grenade launcher would be then. Oh goodness. We make our way through the hotel up to the second floor to meet with our contact, Elena Petrova. This section is about as exciting as you wouldn't expect the final level to start. Eventually, we reach a section where we have to crawl through the vents to reach the next door where we hear this.
Admit it, you're enjoying this, aren't you?
Maybe I am. It's just so rare I get to see you squirm.
After exiting the vents, we enter a room with a ringing telephone. On the other end is Elena, who tells us the door leading to the garage the brothers are hiding in is disguised as a closet in one of the rooms. We make our way there, clearing one room after another of enemies. At one point, I apparently caught these guys completely off guard, or they just really didn't like Joey, because they sure took their precious time to respond to their friend getting riddled with machine gun rounds. Behind them is the secret elevator, and at the bottom we find Gavin, who tells us Ethan's already left with the device, which has never been brought up before this moment. After a threat by Mason, Gavin supposedly calls out his bluff, yet despite having several soldiers backing him up and holding a grenade launcher of his own with Mason in an enclosed doorway, he decides apparently to show his genius and pull a Miller. Okay, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This garage section is by far the most annoying part of this game. It at least tries to be interesting with doors closing, vehicles being detonated, and even a freaking car falling from the ceiling. It's still ultimately a tedious test of patience, with a few sections requiring trial and error to pass. If that wasn't annoying enough, it ends with another damage sponge boss, but this time one that can one-shot you. Unlike the last annoying section that was 4 minutes and all done in one life, this whole set piece took multiple attempts and over 10 minutes from start to finish. I mean, hey, at least we got to kill Discount Jacksepticeye over here. After that, we get one last section, a club Ethan was found by Elena to be hiding with the device. There's not much to write home about for this part, but judging by the tunes in the background, I can see why this place is a favorite of Ethan's. After clearing out the bottom floor, we make our way up the stairs where Ethan is waiting, and judging by the way he's sitting, could use some posture lessons about as much as I could.
Half my job's done, Ethan. Your brother's dead, by my hand.
Ugh, honestly. Could your tactics be any more transparent? Gavin was a twat. He had a big brain, true, but weapon tech geeks are a dime a dozen.
So why did you go out of your way to rescue him? I mean, I intended on killing you before, but your plan makes so little sense, I need this for my sanity's sake now. Here we have the final boss, and honestly, it's not that notable. Just another damage sponge with one phase on the second and first floor. He at least stands out in one way, spouting more ridiculous dialogue to goad the player.
You miserable pile of crap!
After unloading every weapon and grenade I had, though, and using the shotguns left on the ground by the enemies from before, Ethan finally goes down as anticlimactically as you might expect. Once defeated, we make our way to the top floor to grab the device, then exit the club victorious. Or do we? As we're leaving, Elena reveals herself and knocks Mason out of commission, thanking him for doing her job and walking off with the apparatus. We get one more cutscene with Elena speaking with the Moore and an unknown contact, leaving us on a cliffhanger alluding to a sequel we never got for obvious reasons. Oh, thank God it's over. So that was Soldier of Fortune Payback, and yeah, I think it's clear why this is the worst game I played to date. But I gotta say, I still had a lot of fun with it. Not for the intended reasons, though. This game is a poster child for incompetency, and I absolutely love it for that. The dumb controls with 0 to 60 sprinting and crouching with the D-pad, the horrendous voice acting capping off an even worse narrative, and most of all, the enemy animations and behaviors, Payback is a game I never not have fun with, minus a few points where the game gets too ridiculous. It's also something I found always gives you something new to see. I lost the recording, but my first time playing this game for footage, I saw the turret man from earlier still standing after his head had been blown off. A glitch I was so excited to do a bit for, but sadly was unable to. But ultimately that's okay. I still feel I properly demonstrated just how awful this game is. If you ever wondered what counts as a 1 out of 10 on my rating scale, this game is borderline there. And after what we've seen today, I doubt that's a surprise to anybody. Well, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to slice that like button in half, subscribe to my channel if you are new, and I gotta cleanse myself of this filth with a much better game. Perhaps one of my favorite games to date, and perhaps the subject of my next video scheduled for Valentine's Day. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.